My husband texted me, "You're not going on the cruise." No explanation, no emoji, no follow-up, just that sentence. And by noon, I had already sold the house, not listed it, not negotiated, not thought it through, sold it. People think moments like this are dramatic, explosive. That a woman realizes she's been betrayed and immediately screams, cries, throws things, makes a scene. But real betrayals don't come with music, they come quietly. Like a notification on your phone while you're standing in line at a pharmacy holding medicine for your sick mother, wondering if you should buy the cheaper brand again this month. That's where I was, standing under fluorescent lights, tired, half awake. My phone vibrated once. I smiled without thinking. Then I read the message, "You're not going on the cruise." I read it again and again. Then I waited for the second text, the joke, the explanation, the "we need to talk." Nothing came. My fingers hovered over the screen. "What do you mean?" I typed. Seen, no reply. That's when the nausea hit, not the physical kind. The kind that comes when your body understands something your mind hasn't caught up with yet. This wasn't about a cruise. This was about permission. Marcus didn't ask, he decided. And that's when I realized he had been deciding things for me for years: where we lived, when I could visit my sister, which job offers were realistic, which friendships were bad influences. He never raised his voice, he never threatened, he just edited my life, quietly. I used to call it compromise. Now I knew what it really was: control. We had booked the cruise 6 months ago, 10th anniversary, paid in full. I had been counting down the days. I was the one who saved for it. I was the one who paid for most of it. But suddenly I was allowed to go. I walked out of the pharmacy without my bag, sat in my car, and checked our bank account. That's when I saw it. A scheduled transfer, almost all of our joint savings. Moving out the next morning, to an account I didn't recognize. My lungs stopped working. My heart slammed against my ribs like it was trying to escape. I drove home without music, without thinking, without blinking. And when I walked into the house, my house, even if his name was on the deed, I noticed something that made my blood turn cold. A suitcase, not mine, half-packed, hidden in the guest room closet. I didn't open it yet, I just stared at it. Because suddenly the text made sense. He wasn't canceling a trip, he was erasing me. My phone buzzed again. "Marcus, we'll talk later, don't make this difficult." That sentence changed everything, because people who love you don't warn you not to be difficult. They don't preemptively silence you. They don't move money in secret. I sat on the bed staring at that suitcase, and something inside me shifted. Not panic, not tears, clarity. This wasn't about a cruise. This was about my life being rewritten without my consent, and I wasn't in the script anymore. I opened my laptop and typed, "How to sell a house fast." By noon, I had a buyer, and Marcus still thought I didn't know. I didn't sell the house because I was impulsive. I sold it because I finally understood what it meant to be cornered. People think betrayal is loud, that it comes with shouting, slammed doors, dramatic confrontations, but real betrayal is quiet. It's administrative. It's polite. It's hidden inside calendars, passwords, and one-sentence decisions. It looks like someone else rewriting your future while you're still living in the present. I met Marcus when I was 24. I was working 2 jobs, saving for grad school, dreaming about a life that felt like it was finally beginning. He was charming, confident, always talking about big ideas. He made me feel safe. He made me feel chosen. He used to introduce me as the practical one. I thought that meant reliable. Now I know it meant usable. We married fast, too fast. My mother hesitated. My friends asked questions. Marcus called them negative. He said, when 2 people believe in each other, they don't need permission. So I ignored every warning sign and called it love. The house was my idea. The down payment came from my grandmother's inheritance. Marcus said he'd match it once his company took off. It never did, but there was always an explanation, always a delay. Always a future version of him that would finally show up. And I believed in that version longer than I should have. I postponed grad school. I moved cities for him. I stayed quiet when I wanted to speak. I shrank when I wanted to grow. I told myself that was marriage, but marriage shouldn't feel like disappearing. When I walked into the house that morning and saw the suitcase, I still tried to be reasonable. I told myself it could be a misunderstanding, that maybe he was planning a surprise, that maybe I was overreacting. That's what women like me do. We give explanations to men who don't deserve them. I finally opened the suitcase. Inside were clothes I had never seen him wear, expensive, stylish, not his, a new cologne and an envelope, cash, thousands of dollars. My hands started shaking. Then I saw the boarding pass, one-way ticket, international, leaving tomorrow. I sat on the floor because suddenly the truth hit me like a wave. He wasn't planning a conversation. He wasn't planning a goodbye. He was planning a disappearance. My phone rang. Marcus, I answered. Where are you going? I asked. Silence. Then he laughed, not nervously, casually, like I was asking something silly. You shouldn't be going through my things, he said. Not I'm sorry, not let me explain, just you're not allowed to know. I asked him about the money. He said it was complicated. I asked him about the cruise. He said I wouldn't understand. And that sentence broke something in me. You wouldn't understand. Not because it was true, but because it was convenient. I hung up and called my sister. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just said, I think my husband is about to disappear. She said, then don't let him take you with him. By 11:00 a.m. I was talking to a lawyer. By 11:30 I realized something terrifying. If I waited, I would lose everything. Not slowly, completely. Marcus called again. This time his voice was calm, controlled, annoyed. Don't make this difficult, he said. I looked at the suitcase, at the boarding pass, at the cash, and I realized something. He wasn't afraid of leaving me. He was afraid of me noticing. That's when I said the words that changed everything. I know you're leaving. Silence, real silence. Then he said, you're being dramatic, and I laughed, because people who are about to destroy your life always call you dramatic. I asked him who she was. He didn't answer. I asked him where he was going. He didn't answer. I asked him why. He said, you wouldn't understand. Again, I ended the call not because I had nothing to say, but because I finally understood something. This man didn't love me. He used me. And he thought I was too small to notice. I stood up, opened my laptop, and made the first decision of my new life. I wasn't going to beg. I wasn't going to cry. I wasn't going to wait. I was going to move faster than him. I didn't confront Marcus again that day, not because I was weak, but because I was finally thinking clearly. For the first time in 10 years, I wasn't trying to save the marriage. I was trying to save myself. I stopped asking questions and started collecting answers. I photographed everything. The suitcase, the boarding pass, the cash, the cologne. I logged into every account I could still access. And that's when I saw it. 2 new credit cards in my name. My vision blurred. My knees gave out. I had never applied for those. I had never even seen them. But they were mine, legally. That's when I understood. Marcus wasn't just leaving me, he was leaving me with a disaster. I opened his desk drawer and found the phone, not his main phone, the old one, cracked screen, barely working, the one he thought I'd forgotten about. It was still logged in. I wish I could tell you I hesitated, that I respected his privacy, that I felt guilty. I didn't, because people who respect you don't steal your life. That phone changed everything. Her name was Leela, not saved with a heart, not hidden, just there. Like she belonged. The messages weren't romantic. They were strategic, detailed, calculated. They talked about timing, about accounts, about documents, about me, not as a person, as a variable. One message made my blood freeze. She's passive, she won't fight. I stared at that line for a long time. Because it wasn't cruel, it was accurate. I had always been the one who compromised, the one who softened, the one who waited, the one who understood. And he had built his entire escape on that. They were planning this for months. The cruise, the money, the timing. The clean exit. He was going to disappear and I was going to be left holding the wreckage, debt, legal questions, suspicion, confusion. I was the cover. That's when my hands stopped shaking, not because I wasn't scared, but because something else took over. Focus. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I didn't collapse. I made lists. At 6:12 a.m. I sent him a text. We need to talk today. He replied instantly, don't make this difficult. He still thought he was in control. By 9:00 a.m. I was sitting across from a forensic accountant. By 10:30 I knew how much money he had moved. By 11:15 I knew how to freeze it. And by noon the money was locked. That's when Marcus called, not calm, not charming, panicked. What did you do? He asked. I protected myself, I said. You can't do this. I already did. There was silence, real silence, the kind that only comes when someone loses control. Then he switched tactics, soft voice, slow words, the tone he used when he wanted me to fold. Let's not make this ugly, he said. Ugly, I laughed, because nothing is uglier than being erased quietly. I told him I knew about Leela. He didn't deny it. He sighed. You're emotional right now. That word, emotional, men use it when they want your pain to sound irrational. I told him the house was sold. He stopped breathing, not metaphorically, literally. What? You're not coming back, I said. So neither is your name on my walls. You're bluffing. I sent the contract. This time he didn't speak, and for the first time in my marriage. I heard fear in his voice. Why are you doing this? He asked. I closed my eyes. I'm not doing this to you, I said. I'm responding. Then he said something that would later destroy him. You think you've won, he said. But you don't even know what you're stepping into. He hung up, and I whispered into the empty room, neither do you. By the next morning, Marcus wasn't just scared, he was unraveling. I knew it because he stopped being careful. People who feel in control don't write long messages, they give orders, but Marcus sent me emails, not texts. Emails, long, rambling, emotional essays about misunderstandings, about temporary arrangements, about how we could revisit everything later. That's when I knew he was losing his grip. I didn't reply. Instead, I went to the bank, not the app, the actual building. I wanted a human face. 2 hours later, I was staring at a screen filled with transactions I didn't recognize. Small ones, then bigger ones, then massive ones. He had been testing limits. Predators don't attack immediately. They measure, nibble, push, watch. Then I saw a charge that made my blood go cold. A legal retainer, not for divorce, for immigration. That's when everything snapped into place. Marcus wasn't running for love. Leela wasn't romance. She was a cover. He wasn't escaping me. He was escaping something else, and I was his camouflage. My name, my credit, my house, my life. I wasn't a wife, I was infrastructure. That afternoon, I met with a private investigator. Not because I wanted revenge, but because I needed the truth. I gave him everything, every document. Every screenshot, every message. He studied it quietly, then he said something I will never forget. You don't marry a man like this without becoming part of his system. I asked what that meant. He said, it means his mess is already touching you. You just haven't seen the edges yet. I saw them that evening. There was a knock at my door, 2 men, dark jackets, badges, not police, federal. They asked for Marcus. I said, he moved out. They asked if I knew where he was. I said, if I did, I'd tell you, which was true. They asked if I had noticed anything unusual. I almost laughed. They gave me a card. If you remember anything, they said, call us. After they left, I slid down against the wall, not crying, not shaking. Realizing this wasn't a breakup, this was a blast radius. Marcus called an hour later. How many people did you tell? Not hello, not are you okay, that. I told him about the agents. He swore, not quietly, not politely. He swore like someone whose plan had gone wrong. You did this, he snapped. No, I said, you did. He said I was ruining everything, that I didn't understand the stakes. Us, he still said us. I asked him what he had done. Silence. I asked him what he was running from. He said, you should have stayed out of it. That's when I understood something terrifying. Marcus didn't think he was evil. He thought he was the hero, and I was the inconvenience. That night my pi called. His voice was different. Careful. You need to know something, he said. I braced. Marcus has been laundering money. Through me, my accounts, my credit, my house. I didn't cry. I went cold because suddenly everything made sense. The urgency, the timing, the secrecy. He wasn't leaving me. He was burning me. I was supposed to be the one they questioned. The one they blamed, the one who didn't know. I called him. This time he answered. You used me, I said. You benefited, he replied. That sentence ended my pain, not healed it. Ended it. I laughed, not because it was funny, because it was monstrous. You think you're smarter than me, I said. I know I am, he replied. I smiled, because that arrogance was about to destroy him. The next morning I texted Marcus first, not angry, not defensive, soft. We need to talk. I can't do this fighting anymore. He replied in under 10 seconds. Good, not are you okay, not let's fix this, just good. Predators recognize surrender instantly. We met at a cafe near the river, neutral territory, public. He chose the table with the best view. Always positioning himself like he was in a movie, he looked calm, too calm. When I sat down, I let my shoulders sag, I let my eyes look tired, I let my hands tremble just enough. He noticed. This is hard for you, he said, not sympathy, observation. Like a scientist watching a reaction. I don't want to be enemies, I said. He smiled, the real one, the one I hadn't seen in years, because that smile meant he thought he was winning. I told him I was scared, that the agents terrified me. That I didn't understand any of it, all true, I just didn't tell him the part where I had already given them everything. He leaned forward. This can all go away, he said. I swallowed. How? He exhaled slowly like he was doing me a favor. We realign. I let my voice crack. What does that mean? He explained, not in legal terms, in control terms. He wanted access again to the accounts, to the documents, to my name. I asked him if he loved me. He paused, not because he felt it, because he calculated which answer would benefit him. Of course I do. I nodded. Then I said the most important line of my life. Then I trust you. That sentence made him careless. Power always does. Over the next 2 weeks I played the role perfectly, confused, dependent. Afraid, I asked questions I already knew the answers to. I let him explain things slowly. I let him feel smart. I let him feel superior. Every meeting, every call, every message recorded. He talked and talked and talked. Men like Marcus always do. They don't confess emotionally. They brag strategically. He told me how long he'd been planning this, 18 months. He told me why he chose me. You're reliable, he said, not loving, useful. He told me about Leela. She doesn't ask questions, he said. I smiled politely and saved the file. One night I asked him something simple. If this goes wrong, I said, what happens to me? He laughed, actually laughed. You'll be fine, he said. You won't even know what happened. I looked at him. That's not what I asked. He leaned back. Worst case. He said, you'll be investigated, maybe charged, maybe not. I blinked. And you? He shrugged. I won't be here. I nodded like I accepted that, but inside something crystallized. This wasn't about betrayal anymore. This was about erasure. He wasn't leaving me, he was deleting me. That night I met with the agents. I played them everything, not snippets, not highlights, everything. They didn't interrupt, they didn't blink. When I finished, one of them said, he just confessed to multiple felonies. I exhaled for the first time in weeks, but I wasn't done. Because justice isn't just legal, it's psychological. I wanted him to know, not that he lost, but how. So I invited him to dinner, my place, the house he thought he still owned. He arrived confident, relaxed, in control. I served wine, I smiled, I asked him about his future. He described it like a brochure, and then I said, you should talk slower. He frowned. Why? I placed my phone on the table, recording, red light on, and said, so they don't miss anything. His face collapsed. The room went quiet, not awkward quiet, danger quiet. Marcus stared at my phone like it was a weapon, because to him it was. Turn that off, he said, not asked. Ordered. I took a slow sip of my wine. Why? He stood up. This isn't funny, neither is laundering money through your wife, I said. His face drained, not shocked, exposed. He sat back down slowly. Then he smiled, not warm, not charming, predatory. You think you're smarter than me, he said. I tilted my head. No, I said, I think you're louder. That's when he snapped, not yelling, worse, cold. You don't understand what you're playing with, he said. You don't understand what I already gave them, I replied. His jaw tightened. You think they'll protect you? I didn't answer. You think you're special, still nothing. You were convenient, he said. There it was. The truth he'd been hiding behind charm. You were safe, he continued. You were predictable. I smiled. Not anymore. He leaned forward. If you destroy me, he said, I will take you with me. That was the moment, the exact second I stopped being afraid of him. Because fear is only useful when someone has power over you, and he had just admitted he was losing it. I picked up my phone. That sounded like a threat, I said calmly. His eyes widened. Don't be dramatic. I tapped the screen, saved. He stood up so fast the chair scraped loudly. You think this ends with me in cuffs and you walking free? He said. People were staring now. Good, I stood too. I think this ends with the truth, I said. He laughed, but it cracked. Truth doesn't matter, he said. Control does. Then he leaned close, and you don't have it. He walked out, but he didn't look victorious, he looked hunted. The next day my name was everywhere, not in headlines, in whispers, friends calling, coworkers texting, distant relatives suddenly checking in. Marcus was spreading his version, unstable wife, emotional breakdown, false accusations. He was trying to bury me socially, because legally he was already sinking. The agents warned me. He's going to flip the narrative, one of them said. He already is, I replied. They offered protection, I declined. Not because I was brave, because I wanted him to think I was alone. That night he called, private number. I answered, silence, then breathing, slow, intentional. You should have let me leave, he said. I said nothing. Now this gets ugly. I smiled. He couldn't see it. But he would. The next morning the agents moved, not arrests, freezes, seizures, holds, every asset he touched locked, every account flagged, every associate questioned. Leela disappeared, not romantically, legally. She stopped answering him because rats don't stay on sinking ships. Marcus called me again, this time panicked. What did you do? I said nothing. What did you do? I told the truth, I said. He started talking fast, offering things, money, apologies, promises. I'll fix this, he said. I'll come back like I was still waiting. I don't want you back, I said. He went quiet, not angry, scared. You need me, he said. No, I replied. I needed who you pretended to be. That broke him, not emotionally, strategically, because now he didn't know what I wanted, and men like Marcus only know how to control, not how to survive without it. Marcus didn't go silent, he went loud. When people like him lose control, they don't retreat, they rewrite reality. Within 48 hours, his version of me was everywhere. Unstable, manipulative, bitter, vindictive. He told people I was having a breakdown, that I imagined everything, that I was trying to destroy him because he wanted to leave. Not because he had used me, not because he had lied, because I was emotional. That word again, it followed me like a stain. My phone didn't stop buzzing. Some friends were worried, some were suspicious, some were suddenly distant. That's when I learned something painful. People don't choose truth, they choose comfort. And Marcus was charming. The agents told me what he was doing. He's preparing a defense, one said. No, I replied. He's preparing a character assassination. They nodded, they'd seen it before. That afternoon I was served, not with papers, with rumors that I had forged documents, that I had hacked accounts, that I had planted evidence. I laughed, not because it was funny, because it was desperate. And desperation makes mistakes. That evening my pi called. Leela is talking, he said. I froze. To who? Everyone. She had lawyered up and she was scared because Marcus had promised her safety. And now she was radioactive. She asked to meet me. I said yes. Not because I trusted her, because I wanted to see her. The woman who thought my life was a stepping stone. We met in a public place. Bright, crowded. She was younger than me, not in years, in certainty. Her hands shook around her coffee. I didn't know he was married, she said. I smiled. He bought you plane tickets, I replied. You knew. She flinched. He said you were cold, she whispered. He said you were controlling. I nodded. He said I was everything that made him the victim. She swallowed. He said you were safe, she said, that nothing would fall on you. There it was, not love, not passion, strategy. He told you I was disposable, I said. She didn't deny it. She slid her phone across the table. Messages, voice notes, photos, not of love, of logistics. He had used her too, just differently. I told her the truth, not the version that made me look good, the version that was real. She cried. I didn't. I had done enough of that. 2 days later, Marcus filed a motion, claiming I was mentally unstable. That I was fabricating evidence, that I was a danger to myself, to him, to the investigation. He wanted me discredited because if I wasn't believable, nothing I said mattered. The hearing was scheduled fast, emergency basis. I walked into that courtroom feeling naked, not legally, emotionally. Marcus looked composed. Clean, sympathetic. He nodded at people, touched his lawyer's arm, perfect optics. I sat down, and I remembered something my pi had said. People like him win when you play defense. So I didn't. When my turn came, I didn't cry, I didn't plead. I played the recordings. All of them, not the worst first. The casual ones, the ones where he spoke freely about using me, about timing, about disappearing, about leaving me to handle it. His lawyer objected, the judge overruled, the room changed, not loudly, energetically. Marcus stopped leaning back, he leaned forward, listening. Not to me, to himself, exposed. Then I played the threat. If you destroy me, I will take you with me. The judge looked at him, not angrily, clinically. That's worse. Marcus stood. She manipulated those recordings, he said. I smiled. I have originals, I replied, with timestamps, locations. Metadata? He froze because he didn't think I knew those words. That's when his lawyer asked for a recess. And for the first time, Marcus didn't look in control. He looked like a man realizing his reflection was finally visible. The recess lasted 15 minutes. But in those 15 minutes, Marcus aged 5 years. When we came back into the courtroom, something had shifted, not legally, energetically. The judge wasn't leaning back anymore, he was leaning forward. Marcus wasn't relaxed anymore, he was performing, and performance is fragile, his lawyer asked to address the court. Spoke about emotional distress, about marital conflict, about unreliable narrators. Then the prosecution stood and said one sentence that made my chest tighten: "We would like to introduce corroborating testimony." Marcus stiffened. They called Leela. She walked in slowly, not confident, not dramatic, terrified. She didn't look at me. She didn't look at Marcus, she looked at the floor, and that told me everything. She wasn't here to be brave, she was here because she had no other option. They asked her how she met him. She told the truth. They asked what he told her about me. She told the truth. They asked what he told her about the money. She hesitated, then said, "He said it was safe because it wasn't his." The room inhaled, not audibly, collectively. She described accounts, movements, fake purposes, false narratives. She described how he rehearsed what he would say if questioned, what he would blame on me, what he would deny, and what he would disappear. Marcus stood up. "She's lying," he said, not to the judge, to the room, to reality. The judge ordered him to sit. He didn't. Security moved, and that's when the illusion cracked, not legally, visually. The charming man, the calm husband, the victim, gone. In its place, a man who had lost his story. They presented the financial web, not simplified, not summarized, mapped, colored, time-stamped, account to account, name to name. And every line led back to me, my name, my credit, my address, my identity. I wasn't his partner, I was his shield. I felt the room turn toward me, not with suspicion, with understanding. That is heavier. The judge asked Marcus directly, "Did you use your wife's identity to move these funds?" Marcus looked at his lawyer, then at me, then said, "She agreed." I laughed out loud, not because it was funny, because it was insane. I stood and I said, "If I agreed, show me the messages where I knew." Silence. "Show me the emails." Nothing. "Show me one place where I consented." He looked away. That's when I realized something strange. I wasn't nervous, I wasn't afraid, I wasn't even angry. I was clear. That's dangerous. For liars, the judge ordered the accounts frozen, the assets flagged, the investigation escalated, not suggested. Ordered. Marcus sat down slowly, like his bones had turned to glass. He didn't look at me, he looked at the wall. People like him don't process consequences, they process humiliation. Outside the courtroom, reporters waited, not for me, for him, because downfall is more interesting than survival. I walked past them, not hiding, not explaining, just existing, and that drove him insane. He called me that night, not to apologize, to bargain. "You can stop this," he said. I said nothing. "I'll give you money." Silence. "I'll disappear." Still nothing. "What do you want?" I exhaled. "I want you to tell the truth," I said. He laughed, but it was hollow. "You don't understand," he said. "If I tell the truth, I'm done." I smiled. "No," I said, "you're done either way." That broke him, not emotionally, strategically, because now he knew I wasn't negotiating, I wasn't threatening, I wasn't begging, I was walking him straight into the light. The night after the hearing, I didn't sleep, not because I was scared. Because I was finally awake. For the first time in years, my thoughts were my own, not filtered, not negotiated, not softened, just clear. Marcus, on the other hand, was unraveling. People think downfall is loud. It is, it's frantic. He started calling everyone, friends, family, my coworkers. Distant cousins he'd never cared about before. He told them I was lying, that I was mentally unstable, that I was trying to ruin him because I couldn't handle abandonment. Classic. If he could isolate me, he could rewrite me. My mother called. Her voice was careful. "Are you okay?" Not because she doubted me, because he had planted doubt. I told her everything, not emotionally, factually, because facts don't wobble. That afternoon, he showed up at my door, not angry, not threatening, smiling, which was worse. "You look tired," he said. I didn't invite him in. He stepped forward anyway. I blocked the doorway. "You're making a mistake," he said softly. I tilted my head. "Which one?" He exhaled like I was exhausting. "This story," he said, "this victim thing." I stared at him. "You used my identity to launder money," I said. He smiled. "I gave you a life." There it was, that sentence, the one men like him believe. That support is ownership, that presence is permission, that marriage is consent. "You think they'll remember you?" he asked. "In 5 years," I didn't answer. "I will," he said, "because I win." I leaned closer. "Not this time." That's when he lost control, not explosively, quietly. I made you, he said, and I realized he truly believed that my existence was an extension of him. That my survival was theft, that my resistance was betrayal. You're nothing without me, he whispered. I smiled, not cruelly, honestly. You're about to find out how wrong you are. That night the agents called, not casually, formally. We're moving forward, they said. The next morning his face was on the news, not glamorous, not sympathetic, neutral. That's how real consequences look. He was arrested outside a hotel, not running, waiting like he thought someone would still save him. They didn't. His associates were detained, accounts were seized, properties flagged, the cruise tickets refunded. I watched the footage alone, not smiling, not crying, processing, because revenge is loud, justice is quiet. He called me from jail. I answered, not to be kind, to be complete. You did this, he said. I closed my eyes. No, I replied, you did. I trusted you, he said. I laughed. Once. You used me, I said. That's not trust. There was silence, not dramatic, empty. They won't believe you forever, he said. They already did, I replied. That broke him, because his power was never money, it was narrative. And he had lost it. After that he stopped calling, not because he was done, because he had nothing left to say. That night I walked through my house, not his house, mine. I touched the walls, the windows, the quiet. I didn't feel victory, I felt space. And that was better, because space means possibility. The courtroom was quieter this time, not tense, not explosive. Final. Marcus sat 2 rows ahead of me, not confident, not charming, smaller, not physically, psychologically. The judge read the charges, slowly, carefully. Fraud, identity misuse, financial conspiracy, money laundering. Every word felt unreal, not because they weren't true, but because they were finally being said out loud. When the verdict came, it wasn't dramatic. No gasp, no scream, no cinematic music, just a sentence. And then another, and then the weight of it settling into the room. Guilty. I didn't react, not because I didn't feel anything, but because I felt everything. Relief, sadness, anger, grief, freedom, all at once. Marcus looked back at me, not angry, not pleading, empty. And for the first time he looked ordinary, not powerful, not dangerous. Just a man who had made choices, and now had to live inside them. Outside the courthouse, reporters waited, not for me, for the story. I walked past them because I wasn't a headline, I was a survivor, and survivors don't owe anyone spectacle. That night I sat on my bedroom floor, not crying, not celebrating, breathing for the first time without permission. I thought about the woman I had been, the one who apologized too much, who trusted too easily, who thought love meant endurance, and I didn't hate her, I thanked her. Because she got me here, and then I let her go. Weeks passed, the house sold, the accounts reset, my name cleared, but the real change was internal. I stopped explaining myself, I stopped minimizing, I stopped negotiating my worth. One afternoon I stood in front of the mirror. And I didn't recognize myself, not because I looked different, but because I felt different. I wasn't afraid anymore, not of him, not of people, not of being alone, because alone is not the same as empty, it's space. And space is where you rebuild. I took a cruise. Not the one he booked, one I chose. I stood at the railing and felt the wind, not dramatic, real, and I thought about that text. You're not going on the cruise. He thought he was canceling me, he was releasing me. I didn't lose a husband. I escaped a cage, and here's what I learned. Betrayal doesn't destroy you. It introduces you to who you really are, not softer, stronger, not bitter, clear, not broken, unstoppable. And if you're listening to this and you're still inside the lie, still doubting yourself, still shrinking, let me tell you something. You don't need permission to leave. You don't need proof to be hurt. And you don't need to stay small to make someone else feel big, because the day you choose yourself is the day the story changes forever.